Hi, welcome to video 2 on program 4. So the first thing I want to do is my greeting function. Let's just get that out of the way. I'm going to make a very silly greeting, but I would like you to make a better greeting. So I'm just going to put a printf here that says, welcome to the coffee shop. Now it would be better if your greeting is gives more information, but I don't want you to have to watch me type a bunch of information. And by now, you should definitely know how to write printf statements. So now what we do need to do though is call it and make sure it works. So this is the function definition for our greeting function. And this is our main function. So right here is where we're going to call our greeting function. Our greeting function, the name of the function is greeting. It takes no arguments and it has a void return type. So therefore that would be the function call for our greeting. So I know that that's going to work, right? Well, I'm not sure. I might have done something wrong. So the best thing to do is to test it, make sure it compiles, and then make sure welcome to the coffee shop. And then it says have a great day because it never goes into the while loop. If you don't know why it's not going into the while loop, you need to go back and watch the first video. So now the next function we need to do is the option list function. So the best way to implement is to go ahead and do your function definition. So this function, what does this function do? This function displays the program options, gets the selection from the user, and returns it. So again, I have to make my own local option. And then I'm going to put a bunch of printfs that says printf your options are S to see the items, and your options are, okay. And this part you can have your own kind of personality. So if I take a look at my sample output, I have S to view, O to order, B, etc. So you can have it look like that, or you can, however, and I like to put like a line here to separate it and stuff. So this is a place where you can put your own your own kind of personality into this. Not little, just your own personality. So like I like to separate by putting and then I usually work on it a little bit to make sure that I like the way it looks. So printf S to see the items. Your options are, okay, with a colon, S to see the items. And then we have O, B, A, Q to quit, right? Yeah, so we got O, B, A, and Q. And we probably want to have a new line each time. And I usually spend a little time formatting and kind of deciding if I like how it looks. So this is to quit, and this is to add money. So this might look a little different than the other one I did because I'm doing this with you. This is B is to see the balance. O is to make a purchase order. And see, okay, so there's our options. So we're going to declare a variable called option or choice or whatever you want, display those options, and then ask the user to enter their option. And usually I end up making some changes, but One thing to be remember is when you're scanning in a character, you want to put space %C only when dealing with characters, not doubles or integers. Address of option. We will learn more about why I'm saying address of, and then we return it. So basically, this is just a function where you declare a character, display all of the choices the user has, get the choice, and return that choice. I'm going to make sure I didn't make any mistakes when I did that implementation. So I succeeded. I do have a, there we go. Try again. All right, let's run it. Oh no, what happened? Welcome to the coffee shop. Here's your options. It's not displaying that. It's not displaying it because I have not called this function. So I need to do the function call to this function. So I go back to my main function here, and here's where I'm going to call the function. So this function, it has a little pop-up here, and it's telling me that this function takes no arguments and has a character return type. So it needs to be in the form of an assignment statement. And when this function gets called and it returns a character, the character that gets returned from this function, and you need to go back to the module on functions, I believe it's module 3, and review if you're not understanding this. I need to have a character prepared to capture what's being returned by this function. So I'm going to use this character here. So when the option list function gets called, this function is going to display all of the options for the user, get the option, and return that option. So this entire function call here is going to become one character. And that one character is going to then get assigned to the character that's declared here, the choice. And then I'm going to test it. So now we're going to test it, and what's going to happen is if I enter a lowercase q, it will not go inside the loop. And if I enter anything other than a lowercase q, it's going to go into an infinite loop. So I'm actually going to test it twice. All right, I'm going to enter a q, and it quit. Now let's try it without a q. Let's enter an s. There it is. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about loops again. So if I enter an s, this will become an s. Then the test will be s does not equal q. That's true. S does not equal q. So it will go inside the loop. It's going to continue and continue and continue and continue because I haven't done anything to update the loop controller. So how do I update the loop controller? I update the loop controller by calling this function again. This is my update. Oops. So when you're doing a loop, you have initialization. I'm going to initialize the variable by calling the option list function, getting a value for it. I no longer need to initialize it up here because it's going to be initialized right here when I call this function. The option list function will initialize it. This expression right here will test it, and then the option list function will update it. So now I should be able to continue and continue until I enter Q to quit. All right, I enter S, I'm inside the loop. I enter O, I'm inside the loop. I enter X, I'm inside the loop. I enter V. The only way it's going to stop is if I enter Q, and then it ends. So that's wonderful. My loop is working, and so now I need to continue. The next thing I want to do is I want to change this to lowercase, because if you watch, what happens if I enter capital Q? Enter capital Q. Capital Q is not going to stop the loop, because my test, the only thing that will stop the loop is lowercase q. And I don't want to have to do a logical and or logical or in order to test my my options because I do know how to use the toLower function from ctype.h. So it's very simple. I just take my variable that I got, I call the toLower function, I pass it the variable, and then that variable will get changed to lowercase and be assigned back. So I'm not going to use a separate variable for that because I don't need to maintain what it was. I'm just going to get the letter from the user, whatever the letter the user gives me, change it to a lowercase version of that letter, and assign it back to itself. And I'm going to do that also here in my update. So now, even if I enter an uppercase Q, it should still work. And just keep in mind that it's calling the option list function to give me the options, and then it's calling the toLower function. The toLower function is just not a function that I implemented. It's a library function that's part of ctype.h. Let's test it. I'm going to enter a capital Q, and it should end the loop. All right, so that's working. Now, the next thing I need to do is I need to process the option. So I've already started this for you. So the process option function is going to make its own copy of the choice. So whatever the choice is, the process function deals with its own copy of the choice. So when this function gets called, it's just like saying char choice equals whatever variable value comes in. And we've already changed it all to lowercase, so we only have to worry about the lowercase version. If you want to use a switch here, you're more than welcome, but I'm choosing to use if else. So if choice is S, I'm going to display, I'm going to print a message that says display the menu. If choice is O, I want to print a message that says complete the order only if there is enough money. So we're not going to be completing any order. We're not going to be displaying or doing any of this until program 5. So right now we're just setting up our menu. I mean, you can add these features, but you don't need to add those features until we get to program 5. All right, what else do we have to test? We have to test if choice equals B. And so if it's B, what do we want to do if choice is B? And our other choice, else if choice equals A. I think those are only choices. So we have A, B, O, and S. So let's go down here and check all of our options. S, O, B, and A. Q we don't need to worry about because Q, it's going to end the loop. So we don't really need to print any message. You can say you picked Q if you want, but you don't have to. The way it's set up is Q is to quit, and the user should know that Q is to quit. All right, so let's go here. So if they enter B, we want to print a message. Okay, display the account balance. And I'm going to repeat again that there is no balance in this program. We will be adding the balance in program 5. And then the last one, we are also not implementing adding money. Add money to the account. All right, so this function is a function that takes you have to give it a value for the character, and it's going to go through, and if it's an S, it's going to display the menu, and you are going to have to implement the call display menu function. I'm going to leave that for you guys to figure out how to do. If it's an O, it's going to print a message on the screen. If it's a B, it's going to print account balance message. If it's an A, it's going to print an add money message. And if it's anything else, you should print Input not recognized. All right, I have a red squiggly line because I use single quotes here instead of double quotes. All right, so this should work. And I spelled recognize wrong. Recognize. All right, so now let's test it. All right, let's see what happens. My option S, inside the loop. Oh, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening because I have not called the function. So I need to call the function. The function is called process option. So this is where it's important to have an understanding of how algorithms work. And I've given it to you in this program. So this here, you get your choice. You make sure that the user did not enter a queue. You go inside the loop, and then you process the option that the user gave you. So if the user entered a queue, you don't need to test it in your process option function because the truth is it's not going to even go inside the loop if the user enters a queue. So what variable are we passing to this function? We're passing the choice in main. So we get a choice, we change the choice to lowercase, we make sure that it's not a queue, then we pass it over to the process function. We're going to display a message on the screen, get the next choice, change that choice to lowercase, go back up, make sure it's not a queue, and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it until the user enters a queue. So now I'm going to test. All right, so I enter S, display the menu. I enter O, complete the order only if there is enough money. I enter A, add money to the account. I enter B, display the account balance. I enter Q, I quit. And the only thing I didn't test is something that is, I enter X, input not recognized, F. So this is all you have to do for this program. The only other thing you need to add, and I'm not going to do it for you, is just add the function, the definition of the display menu function. This is where you put the menu choices. Here are the coffee and snack options. These are the same coffee and snack options from program 3. So I want you to add that to program 4, and that was the only thing that I have left for you to do the function definition and the function call for display menu. If at any time when working on your programs you need help, please be sure to reach out and get help. As a reminder, there's a whole section here on Canvas on how to get help. Be sure if you are getting help through email that you attach a current version of your code. You can join the online sessions. And our TAs also have office hours, and they should be familiar with your programming assignments. And you can email me at any time. I'm very happy to answer any of your questions. You can also attend our sessions on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. and Wednesdays at 3 p.m. for additional answers to questions.